You wake up, and before you've even had breakfast, you feel it. Heavy. A little bloated. Not really hungry. Some mornings you skip eating altogether because your body just feels backed up and slow. And it's easy to tell yourself this is simply what getting older feels like now. That this is the new normal. It isn't. And I want to show you why. Because when that heavy, sluggish feeling shows up morning after morning, most people reach for the same handful of quick fixes. A stronger cup of coffee, a laxative tea that promises to clear everything out overnight, one of those trendy routines that swear they'll scrub your insides clean. And here's the uncomfortable truth about all of them. They don't make your digestion healthier. They force a tired system to perform on command, and over time that tends to make the whole thing worse, not better. So if the answer isn't more fiber, and it isn't forcing things out, what is actually going on inside you? And is there a gentler way to help your gut start doing its own job again, without strong-arming it every morning? That's exactly what I'm going to walk through. And then I'm going to rank the most popular morning drinks for digestion, from the one that barely moves the needle all the way up to the one I'd actually build a morning around. By the end, you'll know which glass is worth your time, and which one you can stop reaching for. Before we rank a single drink, there's one idea that changes how you see all of them. Let's clear up the biggest myth first, because it's everywhere. You've probably seen the products that claim old waste is rotting inside you, poisoning your body, and that you need to clear it all out. That idea is over 100 years old, and it was set aside by doctors a long time ago for a simple reason. Your body does not store up a backlog of poison in your colon. The little that ever crosses into your blood, your liver handles. So those aggressive clear-out routines aren't fixing a real problem, and in older adults, they can actually cause harm, throwing off your fluids and the minerals your heart depends on. Here's what is real. Constipation does become more common as the years add up. Close to a third of older adults deal with it regularly, compared to about 1 in 6 adults overall. And there are honest reasons for that. The gut tends to move things along more slowly with age. Stool holds less water and turns harder and drier. We move less, we drink less, and many of us take medications that quietly slow the bowels as a side effect. None of that is poison building up. It's a system running low on the things it needs to keep moving. And that's the trap with the standard advice, which is always just eat more fiber. Fiber matters. But if your system has already slowed down and you're not drinking enough water, piling on more dry bulk can sit there and make you feel heavier, not lighter. Picture trying to push more leaves down a gutter that's already half clogged and bone dry. You don't need more material. You need water moving through it. So instead of asking how hard a drink forces things out, the better question is whether it gives your gut the 3 things it actually runs on. The first is water, real hydration, enough that everything inside stays soft and able to move. The second is the kind of fiber that holds onto that water and forms a soft, slippery gel, so things glide instead of scraping along a dry, sensitive lining. And the third is the right mineral signal, especially magnesium, which gently pulls water into the bowel and helps wake up its natural rhythm. Hydration, a soft gel, and magnesium. Hold those 3 in mind, because that's the scorecard I'm ranking everything against. Not how strong it is, whether it gives your gut what it's missing. Let's start at the bottom and work up. Number 6, the most familiar one of all, warm lemon water. Almost everyone has tried this, and there's a reason it's the classic morning ritual. The thinking is that a little acid, first thing, nudges your stomach and intestines awake and gets digestion started. And the biggest thing it has going for it is simple. It's a glass of warm water. That hydration alone can make you feel a bit lighter, and the habit of drinking fluid before anything else is one most people skip. But let's be clear about what it does and doesn't do. The lemon part is mostly for taste. There's very little real evidence that the lemon itself gets your bowels moving, and it does nothing for the 2 things that actually matter, the soft gel and the mineral signal. It's like flicking the lights on in a room without giving anyone the tools to do the work. And there's a downside that matters more as we get older. Lemon is acidic, and sipped every morning, it can wear away tooth enamel, which is often already thinner later in life. If you enjoy it, fine. Dilute it well in warm water, drink it through a straw to spare your teeth, and rinse your mouth after. Just treat it as a pleasant warm-up, not the thing that's going to fix your mornings. So can we do better than warm water with a squeeze of lemon? We can. But the next one is a trap dressed up as a solution. Number 5, the one people grab when they get desperate. Senna tea. Does it work? Absolutely. Is that the whole story? Not even close. This is the overnight option, sold as a way to clear you out by morning. And I'll give it this much. It works, and it works fast. Senna is a genuine stimulant laxative, the same active ingredient in many drugstore products, and it's approved for short-term use. It does two things. It pulls fluid into the intestine, and it directly prods the intestinal muscles to squeeze harder. For someone who hasn't gone in days, it can bring real relief by morning. But that strength is exactly the problem. Because it forces the gut with strong stimulation, a lot of people get cramping, sharp belly pain, and an urgent dash to the bathroom. For an older gut with a more sensitive lining, that can feel harsh. And here's the part the box doesn't shout about. It's meant for about a week at most. Lean on it regularly and you can lose potassium, a mineral your heart and muscles need, which matters a great deal if you take blood pressure or heart medication. With long-term use, the colon can darken with a harmless pigment, and your gut can grow reluctant to move without the push. In other words, you fix today, and quietly make tomorrow harder. So if you ever use Senna, treat it as a short rescue, a few days when you truly need it, then stop and let your body take back over. And never mistake a fast clear-out for a gut that's actually working better. Those are two completely different things. Now we move into the gentler options, the ones that try to support your gut rather than whip it. And the first is one you may not expect. Overnight okra water. It sounds strange, but the logic is sound. When you slice okra and let it soak in water, it releases a natural, slightly slippery mucilage. That's a type of soluble fiber, the kind that forms a soft gel. In the gut, that gel can coat things, cut down the friction, and help stool move more smoothly along a lining that has gotten drier with age. Soluble fiber like this really does help soften stool and improve regularity, so the idea isn't folklore. The appeal is how gentle it is. No cramping, no urgency, no forcing. It nudges your body in the right direction and lets the process happen at its own pace, which is a real advantage if your system is sensitive. The honest catch is twofold. The direct evidence for okra water specifically is thin, mostly built on what we know about soluble fiber in general. And the texture is slippery, which not everyone can stomach first thing in the morning. Fresh okra also isn't always easy to find, and you have to remember to soak it the night before. If you want to try it, slice 3 or 4 pods lengthwise, drop them in a glass of room temperature water, and leave it overnight. Drink the water in the morning before you eat. A splash of warm water or a few drops of lemon makes it easier to get down. Just go in knowing it's a slow, steady helper, not an overnight fix. Number 3 is a pairing aimed at people who don't just want to go, but want to soothe a cranky gut. Aloe vera and slippery elm. On paper, it's appealing. Slippery elm, stirred into water, swells into a thick, soothing gel that coats the digestive tract. Another version of that soft, slippery layer. Aloe is promoted for calming and supporting the gut lining. Together, they're sold as a way to soothe first and get things moving second. But this is the one where I have to slow you down, because the cautions are real, and the benchmark version of this advice tends to skip them. Aloe is not as gentle as it sounds. The active part of the aloe leaf is itself a stimulant laxative, in the same family as Senna, and regulators pulled it from over-the-counter laxative products years ago because its long-term safety wasn't established. It can interact with blood thinners, with diuretics, and with heart medications, And like senna, it can drop your potassium. Slippery elm is gentler, but it's mostly traditional use rather than strong evidence. And because it's so coating, it can slow down how well you absorb other pills, so it has to be taken well apart from your medications. So here's my honest take. If your gut is calm, this pair is more hope than proven help. And the aloe in particular is not something to take lightly if you're on any regular medication. If you're curious, talk to your doctor first. Choose an aloe product made from the inner leaf gel rather than the whole leaf, and keep it well separated from anything else you take. For most people, there are safer choices higher on this list. Number 2 has sparked more arguments than any of them. Diluted apple cider vinegar with a little honey. You've heard the big claims, and most of them are overblown. But there's a kernel worth understanding. The acetic acid in vinegar may help your stomach break food down a little more completely. And when the upper part of digestion runs smoother, what reaches the intestines is easier for your gut bacteria to handle. The honey softens the sharp taste and adds a touch of morning energy. That's the theory. The reality is more modest. The evidence that apple cider vinegar relieves constipation simply hasn't been proven, and there are no real guidelines for using it that way. Meanwhile, the downsides are well documented. It's acidic enough to wear down tooth enamel, even diluted, and to irritate the throat or a sensitive stomach, which is a bigger concern if you've ever dealt with reflux. It can nudge your potassium down, and it can interact with diabetes medications, water pills, and certain heart drugs. The honey, small as it is, still adds sugar, which matters if you're watching your blood sugar, as many of us are. If you still want it, dilute about a teaspoon in a full cup of warm water, sip it through a straw 15 or 20 minutes before breakfast, and rinse afterward. If your stomach feels fine after a few days, carry on. If anything burns or bothers you, stop. It supports digestion a little upstream at best. It does not force your gut to move, and it is no magic fix, despite what the internet promised you. And that brings us to number 1. Not because it's the strongest or the fastest, but because it's the one that actually gives your gut all 3 of the things we talked about. Magnesium-rich mineral water with chia seeds. So why does this one earn the top spot when the flashier options sit lower? Because it is the only drink here that does all 3 jobs at once. Magnesium is the closest thing to a gentle, built-in fix your gut has. It works by drawing water into the intestine and softening what's there. And as the bowel fills a little, that gentle stretch wakes up its natural squeezing rhythm. It doesn't whip your muscles into harsh contractions the way senna does. It restores the normal motion. And this isn't a hunch. In a controlled trial, mineral water rich in magnesium improved how often people went, made their stool easier to pass, and lifted their quality of life compared to plain water. On top of that, people who simply get more magnesium in their diet tend to have less trouble with constipation in the first place. Now add the chia. Soak chia seeds in water, and they swell into a thick, soft gel, almost exactly the slippery, water-holding layer your gut wants. That's your soluble fiber and your hydration in one spoonful. So magnesium pulls water in and gently restarts the rhythm, while the chia gel keeps everything soft and gliding. The 2 work on different parts of the same problem at the same time, which is why this combination does what the others can't. People who stick with it tend to describe the same thing. Lighter mornings, less of that backed-up feeling, and going more easily without strain. And there's a bonus. Magnesium also plays a quiet role in healthy blood pressure and a steady nervous system, so you're supporting more than just digestion. It does ask a little of you. You have to prepare it the night before so the chia fully expands, and the gel texture takes a day or 2 to get used to. More important are the cautions, because this is where being honest matters most. If you have kidney disease, magnesium can build up to dangerous levels, so this is off the table without your doctor's say-so. The same goes if you have significant heart trouble. Magnesium can also interfere with how you absorb certain antibiotics, iron, and calcium, so keep them a couple of hours apart. Too much magnesium simply gives you diarrhea, so more is not better. And the chia must be fully soaked and taken with plenty of water, never dry, especially if you have any trouble swallowing, because dry seeds can swell in the throat. Start with a small amount and build up. The method is simple. Stir a tablespoon of chia seeds into a glass of magnesium-rich mineral water. Let it sit overnight, give it another stir in the morning, and drink it about 20 minutes before breakfast. Nothing else required. So now you can see the whole ladder, and a couple of things stand out. The strongest option, senna, sits near the bottom, because forcing your gut is not the same as helping it. And the top choice isn't the most dramatic one. It's the one that gives your body water, a soft gel, and the mineral it's missing all at once, so it can get back to doing its own job. Before you go and try all 6 at once, let me save you from the mistakes I see most often. The first is stacking them. People figure if one drink helps a little, 3 must help 3 times as much. It doesn't work that way. Piling on multiple methods tends to overwhelm a sensitive system instead of soothing it. Your gut doesn't need more stimulation. It needs time to settle into a rhythm. Pick one foundation and be steady with it. The second is quitting too soon. After a few days with no dramatic change, a lot of people decide it isn't working and give up. But you're not chasing an instant reaction here. You're slowly giving your gut back the conditions it needs, and that takes more than a morning or two. Patience is part of the treatment. And the third is leaning on the forceful options as a daily habit. The stimulant choices, senna and aloe, are short-term tools, not breakfast. Use them rarely, if at all, and let the gentle foundation do the everyday work. One more thing, and it's the most important of all. If your constipation is new, getting worse, or comes with pain, bleeding, or weight you didn't try to lose, that is not a job for a morning drink. That's a reason to see your doctor, because it can signal something that needs a proper look. And if you take medication for your heart, your blood pressure, your blood sugar, or your kidneys, run any of these by your doctor before you start, especially the magnesium. None of this replaces the care you're already getting. It works alongside it. So after all of that, the takeaway is simpler than the internet makes it sound. The problem was never that you're getting older. It's that your gut has been running short on the few things it needs to keep moving: water, a soft gel to glide on, and a little magnesium. Give those back, gently and consistently, and the body has a real knack for finding its own rhythm again. You don't need to overhaul everything. In fact, the simpler you keep it, the more likely you are to actually stick with it. And sticking with it is the whole game. So here's what I'd like you to try. For the next 7 mornings, start the day with a glass of magnesium-rich mineral water with chia seeds soaked overnight. Nothing fancy. Just be consistent and pay attention how your stomach feels, how light you feel, how your mornings go. After a week, ask yourself whether your mornings really feel any different. If you give it a real try, I'd love for you to tell me how it went in the comments, because what you notice could help someone else dealing with the very same thing. If this was useful, you can tap the like button so I know to make more like it, and consider subscribing if you'd like more simple, practical ways to look after your health, take care of yourself, and the people you love. I'll see you in the next one.